What's going on YouTube? Welcome back to the Thomas Gallery, and I want to do a video outside today. So I want to talk about something very important that I've never seen anyone talk about it, but I think it's really important. What happened to kids having recess? Huh? What happened to recess and playtime for children? What happened to recess and playtime for adults, period? And I asked that question because I've noticed this since I was like in high school and college, right? And you know how when you get older and you see children, you know, the younger generation come after you, and you see how they act, and you notice things about the children now that you didn't notice back then, and how every adult says children these days are such and such and such and such. Well, years ago I came up with a hypothesis that I believe has some validity, right? And that is, I believe that the moment recess was taken away, that is part of the problem that children have. What I mean by that? Recess is more than just children playing. Yes, it is children playing, but it's more than that. It's more than just children playing. It's social. It's psychological. It's healthy. It helps the children learn. What do you mean help the children learn? What's what I mean? When children are having recess, when they're out playing and having a good time and playing football or jumping rope or kickball, things of that nature, so many things are happening to the child's brain that can benefit them when they get older. Like they learn how to socialize. They learn how to work as a team. Things that, like when you go to a job interview, right? And the potential employer asks you the question, how well do you work with teams? Well, if you think about it, you really start understanding teamwork during recess, jumping rope or playing football or playing basketball. Those are all team things that you learn during recess, right? So it's very important. Plus, this is what I noticed. When children, well, I'll play this. When I was a child and I came back to class after recess, right? I didn't have the energy to be playing around in class because that energy was used. That energy was used. Damn it, bro. That energy was used during recess. So all the energy that I have now is for me to focus on my schoolwork. But it's always right when junior high hits. I noticed that when I got to junior high, recess was gone. From junior high all the way to college, there was no recreational time. There was none. There was no time set aside where you as a student can release that energy. And the only free time you would get in class or in school would be lunchtime. And then you have a lot of school fights and food fights in the lunchroom. That could be because there was no time set aside for that junior high student or that high school student to get the energy out, to get that male energy out, to get that female energy out. So when you came back to class, you came back to school, your mind is focused. You spend most of your time in junior high, high school, and college in a classroom setting with no release. The brain needs a release. The brain needs time to release, to relax, and not have to think about work. I mean, you do it when you become adults. You have vacation time, right? But if you spend all your days or sometimes all your nights working, you will be stressed out. Now, from elementary school to like pre-K and stuff like that, you have time set aside for playtime. Now, when I say playtime, people probably have a negative image about it when it comes to adults. But even adults need playtime. Adults need playtime. We do. Even adults need playtime. When you think about all the stress that we have as adults, bills, spouse, jobs, children, like other family members that you need, you rarely have time for social activities. Recess is a social activity. But when you become an adult and you're working 9 to 5 or more hours, you don't really have a lot of time for social activities. You don't really have enough time for that. So if you think about it, from pre-K to 6th grade, okay, that's you have a chance to get recess. Now from 7th grade up until adulthood, playtime stops. But I know some adults say, well, people got bills and got time for play. That's the problem. You don't have time for play. And that stopped during junior high. That stopped when we were in junior high. And think about all the teenagers that are coming up with all this pent up energy. When a boy becomes a teenager, puberty kicks in and the hormones start kicking in. Testosterone's at an all-time high. If that teenage boy does not have a proper release for their energy, they're not going to be thinking about paying attention while they're at school. Just not. You got like when people become socially awkward, it's during that junior high school time, that puberty time, when boys don't know how to talk to girls and girls don't know how to associate with other girls or talk to boys. You learn that during recess. I mean, when you were in elementary school having recess, girls talk to boys and boys talk to girls. Boys learn how to communicate with other boys. They learn how to work with other boys. Girls learn how to work with other girls. But as soon as you hit junior high and up, all that stops. So you lose the practice of how to socialize with the opposite sex and with your own sex. You lose that ability to communicate. So when you become an adult, all you have is a bunch of socially awkward men and women who don't know how to communicate with the opposite sex or their own sex, people who don't like to work with each other. Like, human beings are social by nature. We are social that's why there's 7 billion people on the planet. Human beings are social by nature. But when you take a certain aspect of human relationships, being recess, out of the school, a place where you learn how to communicate with people. I mean, school is more than just learning math and science and history and PE and all that stuff. It's more than that. School is also a place where you learn how to socialize with your fellow man once you leave and become an adult. But if that's taken out of the schools at a critical time in a child's life, being puberty, and puberty hits you at junior high and high school time, once you become an adult, all those skills that you learned during recess are gone now. So you don't know how to socialize. You don't know how to work with each other. You don't know how to approach a potential mate. You don't know how to speak to someone in a social setting. So like recess is more than just playing kickball and playing football and all that. It's more than that. It's way more than that. Recess and playtime is far more important than people realize. So why was recess taken out of the schools during junior high and high school, and even in some cases elementary school? Why is it being taken out when it's so important to the human development? Do you realize how much the brain develops through playtime and recess? The brain develops a great deal. So why would you stop something that helps the brain develop? Like anything that helps the brain develop into adulthood should not be stopped after they after they hit a junior high school. It should be continued when you hit junior high school, college. It should be continued. If it helps the brain develop into an adult, why would you stop it when you hit that time when the body is developing? Why would you stop that? This is odd to me. It's always been odd to me, and no one has ever thought of. No one's. I've never heard anybody ask these questions. I've asked these questions, and I've never heard anybody either ask them also or give an answer to them. But recess and playtime is far more than just, oh, let's go outside and play kickball or hide and go seek or tag or something like that. It's more than that. Way more than that. You learn so much. Most of the things you learn from recess helps you socially, especially socially. Like, you have something called social media, okay? Social just simply means communicating with your fellow species, okay? And we have a whole bunch of people on social media who didn't have proper education on how to socialize. And that proper education on socialization happens with recess and quote unquote playtime. You stunted the person's growth when they left elementary school and went to junior high by taking out recess. You stunted their mental growth. You stunted their social growth. So yeah, people on social media who don't know how to socialize because you took the socialization part out of the schools. That's recess. Just think about that. All right? Think about that. Just take the time and think about the things that you learn from recess. Okay? So, hope you enjoyed my little lecture or something. I don't know what you can call it. Leave a comment down below. Like, comment, subscribe, and share. And I will catch you all later. Peace.